Hello, friends. That's my Jim Nance impersonation. Welcome back. It's been a while. I've missed you all. This is my first live stream since March 25th. I've really missed going live, even if I've got very few people tuning in. That's awesome. Anyway, there's a lot that I want to cover, so let's get started. Welcome to those who are on TikTok and on Instagram. I wish you could see my screen better. I'm doing StreamYard and doing Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So those that are on TikTok, Instagram, unfortunately not going to be able to see some of the stuff I'm going to be sharing, especially a clip coming up of my son's basketball game where he made a nice play. So unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see that. But so I encourage you to join me on Facebook Live or YouTube Live instead so you can see it. It'll be coming up here in a little bit. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, my Loyola Chicago Ramblers lost to Oregon State in the Sweet 16, which is very disheartening for me. Unfortunately, as good a shooting team as they've been all season, their shot failed them when they needed it most, and they couldn't make a single three-pointer hardly at all. And that was really the reason they got their butts handed to them a little bit. And really, they didn't get their butts handed to them. They actually could have won that game, even though because they had like 3 or 4 empty possessions or empty trips after they got some stops late in the game with about 3 minutes left that they could have actually taken a lead, but they couldn't convert. And alas, they came up short, and Oregon State pushed through. The clock struck midnight for some, or if not almost all, of the Cinderellas, like Oral Roberts, who had a really good game and had the best chance of winning, and they probably should have won. They probably shouldn't have ended up losing. That really kind of sucked for us that are underdog fans and want to see those small schools get to the end, to the Final Four, to the championship if possible, like Butler did in 2010, a few years ago. The only low seed to make it is number 11 UCLA, which who knows if that seeding is even accurate. Plus, I mean, many of the seedings probably weren't accurate this year due to COVID, but they're going to be matched up against Gonzaga, who's going to pretty much destroy them, I believe, especially after they destroyed USC, when I thought USC had the best chance of upsetting Gonzaga with the Mobley brothers. And then number 1, Baylor also made it. Number 2, Houston. First time 2 Texas schools have made it to the Final Four in the same year, which is interesting. And then there's been a lot of coaching changes since I was last on here. Real quick, Lon Kruger retired from Oklahoma. He used to coach here at UNLV as well as Illinois and a couple other locations. His son, Kevin Kruger, who played for him here at UNLV, got hired recently to take over the men's basketball coaching job. And then I heard today in my Yahoo News that Roy Williams retired from UNC. So it'll be interesting to see who succeeds him there. And then Steve Wojciechowski got fired from Marquette a while back, and they recently hired Shaka Smart from Texas. And I guess Shaka Smart, I forgot this, that is actually a Wisconsin native. I should have known that, right? Since I'm from Wisconsin. So he's there, and that'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I was a little bit shocked that he left Texas to go to Marquette, but I can completely understand because he's been in Texas for a little bit now and hasn't had much success yet. And, of course, they got destroyed by Texas Christian, Abilene Christian, who basically should never beat them, especially since they beat them shooting 29.9% and 16.9% or 7% from 3, which just should have never happened. But they outshot the Texas Longhorns by like 26, 27 shots, forced them into like 20-plus turnovers, and that's how they ended up winning that game. So it was probably one of those things where he needed to leave or he was going to be run out of town sooner or later. Anyway, unless something dramatic changed or something else happened. Moving on from the NCAA tournament, Made Hoops tournament was last weekend, the championship. We went down there for Colton's final games. They faced a team in the first game. It was called Utah Drive. They lost to them ended up losing by 4, I believe it was, or 6, something like that. And they were down as much as like 13, 14 points in the first half. And they came back. They made a valiant effort, but it was a little too late. Yeah, that's what I want to say. So unfortunately, they lost that first game, which basically gave them no chance to win anything. So they played a second game basically a consolation type game, and they won that game. And we're now gearing up for Prep Hoops in Phoenix this coming weekend, the 9th through the 11th of April. Not this weekend, but the weekend after this. And then Dallas, we're going to the Prep Hoops Championship Regional on the May 14th to the 16th. So we'll check back in with him or with his results when we go play those couple events. In the meantime, I want to share a quick clip of Colton. I took video. I always take video. I never do this. I never clip any of his stuff. I really need to be doing it better. I just find myself so busy that I don't typically do anything with the videos I do grab of Colton's games. The good news is I've got just about every single game he's ever played on video. And this was a clip I did decide to clip out from his game. It was one of the highlights of the weekend. So I'm going to run that real quick. I'm going to add to the screen here. Basically got a rebound and went coast to coast, and then he went off his right foot. He's left-handed and shot almost like a reverse right-hand layup. I'll play that one more time for people who haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. There it is. And anyway, it was just a nice play, something that he needs to do a whole hell of a lot more of in most games, and be a little more aggressive when it comes to driving to the basket and scoring and shooting and such. But he's been playing great regardless. He takes more charges than anyone else and creates a lot of havoc on defense. So, he's definitely doing his part, and he always does his part when it comes to the hustle points and the hustle board points. So really proud of him, and hopefully we'll take that with us and move forward with some awesomeness coming up in the next tournaments. Tech stuff I want to talk about real quick. Clubhouse clones, right? Clubhouse is a big thing for Apple. They have not done an Android version of it yet. They, of course, have what they call invite only for people who want to get in Clubhouse. Clubhouse is that audio app where you can join rooms and listen to people talking about whatever it is. Digital marketers talking about digital marketing, basket weavers talking about basket weaving, what have you. None of it's recorded. You can't record any of it. It has to be all done live, and you can only receive it live. And Twitter has now started something called Spaces, which is essentially a clone of Clubhouse. Facebook has their Messenger rooms they started recently, and they're looking at doing more of an audible thing with that. And then LinkedIn, I just heard today, is creating something similar too. And I think Spotify's got something going. It's like everyone and their mother has decided to clone the idea of Clubhouse since it's been so wildly popular with Apple fans and people in general. It's one of the fastest growing social networks on the planet. So no doubt that there's going to be some competition there, and we'll see what all transpires. But it'll be interesting to see if Clubhouse hurries up and gets an Android version out there to kind of solidify their position in the market before these other social media networks get a foothold in it. So we'll see. Another tech thing I want to talk about briefly is the iOS 14 update. A lot of speculation has been going around that once this hits, like Facebook will no longer be able to track people's behaviors, and or you won't have any access to detailed targeting in the ads platform, which is simply not true. Basically, you need not worry unless you have an actual application in the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store, because that's really what it's affecting. It's really affecting people who are iPhone users. And what it's doing is preventing applications on the iPhone from collecting data within the apps themselves on the user's behavior. Basically, it's a privacy issue, and it's not really going to affect really any advertising that, for the most part, about 90% of us do on a regular basis when it comes to Facebook ads. Like I said, unless you're running ads within an app or you have an application itself that you are trying to gather data and report it back to Facebook through their pixel, you're not really going to see any impact on anything you do. And you got to remember too, this is brought up by a little known marketer named Mr. Frank Kern, that back in the day before social media and even the internet, marketers were highly successful just putting an ad in the newspaper or a magazine that went out to just about everyone without any particular demographics or targeting whatsoever. So therefore, it's just one of those things where there's, he went ahead and he tested out a couple of his campaigns where he was doing some detailed targeting, where he just basically did no targeting. He was using just the United States in general with a certain age range of like 30 to 55 or whatever. And he actually saw better results than doing detailed targeting. And then he did it again for another offer, and he actually seen an increase in results from that same type of ad set as well, which doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't be doing detailed targeting. It just means that the sky is not falling and we're going to be okay. And if anything, it's going to be irrelevant to us. So just keep that in mind if you're worried about the iOS 14 update, or if there anybody out there trying to, hook, line, and sinker you into believing that there's going to be a huge fallout and you're going to be screwed. Now, the good news to this is, since there's so many people who are afraid of this update and are shying away from Facebook ads in general, there's a really good chance that means a lot of people will, or businesses perhaps, will stop advertising for the time being while this is going on, or once it gets implemented or pushed out. And so therefore we should see a bunch of our costs decrease, because there should be more availability in the ads spaces that we can advertise, because there's going to be less advertisers. Therefore, the prices should drop a little bit, sort of like what happened right during the beginning of the pandemic, when all the advertisers kind of pulled out of advertising on Facebook, YouTube, and other places, and all of a sudden the cost per whatever it was, per lead, per click, per CPMs, all dropped because there was just far less competition advertising to those audiences. So that's a good thing. So that's one of the positives to this whole thing, where, if you're well educated and you know what's going on, you're not going to be afraid. You're going to move forward, push forward. You're going to get your ads out there anyway. And then hopefully you'll benefit from being somebody who's willing to do that regardless of this update, and not being scared of it, because you probably will benefit from cheaper ad costs. Whew, that's a mouthful, right? Okay. So also, I don't know if you guys know this, because I don't. Well, you probably do. You see in the background, I have a Sega Genesis retro box back there. I was a gamer growing up, of course, 8-bit gaming, 16-bit gaming. I started with my very first Atari 2600. I loved video games growing up. But now that I'm all grown up, it's been hard to find any time to play anything, and everything's gotten so complicated. Let's say it's not as simple to play games that we used to play when it was Atari and Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and all that sort of thing. So, I mean, nowadays, if I try to go play NBA 2K against my son, I can't make a basket, because it's all about perfect timing on pressing and releasing the buttons and all this sort of thing. And it's too many buttons for me to handle. And most games are too overly complicated. And I don't need the learning curve. I don't want the learning curve. I don't have time for the learning curve. I just want to be able to pop a game on and play it, right? So retro gaming is where I'm at. Something I recently discovered because a friend of mine had shared it with me. Legends Ultimate by At Games is a standalone arcade machine similar to the arcade 1-ups, which I've currently owned 4 of those. And this one, though, I've seen it before. I saw it when it was on sale in Sam's Club this winter during Christmas. I didn't think twice about it. I looked at it briefly. It has 300 games loaded onto it, but most of them are console ports, and console ports aren't that great, of course. I mean, they're okay, and when that's what we grew up playing mostly, unless you went to the arcade. But they're just okay, and they're not worth much. However, At Games was smart, and they modded this machine up to the point where you could basically do all kinds of awesome stuff with it through their OS and through Wi-Fi. And one of those things you can do is you can mod it to play actual real arcade games that aren't just the console ports versions, but the actual original arcade games. And there's a group of guys on the Reddit forum or something called, they go by I don't know if they go by the CoinOps X name or they go by the Saucy name, but whatever they are, they're unbelievable. They put together a couple of different builds, I guess. I'm new to all this. I'm learning it as I go. And the newest one is called CoinOps X version 4.5 Yippee-ki-yay, which I happen to be wearing my Yippee-ki-yay shirt from Die Hard, right? And Saucy. And the Saucy is SA, and it's UCE capitalized because that stands for something to do with the gaming ROMs and the emulators. And it's a build that has 1,653 arcade games that are direct ports from the arcade, and it's unbelievable. So I purchased this machine. It's going to be coming hopefully tomorrow. I should have have it tomorrow. I should be able to use it tomorrow. I should be able to tell you all about it more. But I've already gone ahead and I've gotten this build. It was 38.6 gigabyte download zipped. Unzipped, it's like 45 gigabytes. And you have to put it onto a thumb drive, and you have to run this extra add-on software that AtGames provides in order to build out the files into the appropriate structure that it needs in order to operate these games. But they've done a really great job of doing detailed artwork for each title. They've got the original logos. They've got even little mini videos that play on a sample machine on the video arcade screen itself while you're looking at game titles. So you can watch a little bit of the gameplay before you hop on to see if you love it or if you want to try it or if you haven't seen it before, whatever it is. It's just really freaking cool. Anyway, I've got a YouTube video. I'm going to share it real quick here in the comments on StreamYard. So if you want to watch that YouTube video, you can learn all about it. It's amazing. And I think at about the 1046 mark of that YouTube video or so on the old version of this CoinOp X build that this guy did. This guy only had 800 games, not the 1,653, but he plays the rest of the video from the 1046 mark or so to the end, showing you every single title that's in that 800 game build. Now this one's twice as big, so it would be even more titles that I'm not even sure which ones they are, because heck, I didn't even realize that there had been this many arcade games over the years. I knew there's a lot, but you always seen the same titles over and over again when you go to arcades typically, because they always want to show you the most popular games, and the most popular games get the most coin, that sort of thing. So they don't always have some of the also rans or duds or whatever you want to call them. So anyway, super excited about that, because my old gaming geeky side wants to come out and play some games, and especially some of these coin-op games. And I have, like I said, I have 4 arcade one-up machines. I've got the Marvel versus Capcom. I've got Street Fighter machine. I've got the Rampage machine, and I've got the NBA Jam machine. And so I've got, each one of those got 3 to 4 titles on it, which is cool. And they're exact, supposed to be the actual arcade ports as well, not console ports, so that they're pretty good. They are pretty solid, and I do love them. But yeah, this one's gonna get all my attention because of so many games to choose from. Games I never even heard of and never even tried, and now I'm gonna get a shot to play them. When I was just a little tiny guy running through the arcades and I couldn't afford to play all the different ones, now I get a chance to play them all. And I'll probably be bored with it in a week. But I'm hoping to get my son involved, and I'm hoping to set aside like an hour a day out of my day to actually play a little bit of this, because I think I need it for a mental break, number one. And number two, you got to have some vices, right? This is my vice. This is what I'm looking forward to. So I hope it's as awesome as it sounds. And then if it's great and it's awesome and it's everything I want it to be, I'll be selling my arcade one-up machines probably, because why not? Why need them? All those games will be included in that 1,653 arcade game build anyway, so no need to have duplicates basically. Other than it just looks cool sitting around in the area I have them. Also, then one more thing. No, I'm going a little bit too long. I'm at 19 minutes. I'll talk about that tomorrow probably. I'll leave that fun one for tomorrow. It's about email marketing automation, but I'm working through some stuff, and I still don't know exactly how I'm going to proceed with it. So I'll share more when I learn more about it as well. Anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, it's been 5 days. I know I went a little longer than normal, but I'm super excited about a few things. I wanted to, recap a few things that have gone on in the last 5 days since I last got on here. And, good news. One more thing. Basketball is resuming in Nevada real soon. In fact, most tournaments or leagues can submit their plans to the state for approval, which is awesome. But right now, no matter what, supposedly the rule is that each player and or coach needs either be tested or provide a vaccine card to prove that we're COVID free before we can play in these tournaments or leagues. Now, that's only on the operations, right, of the particular facility or the group that's putting on the tournament or league. So, of course, if they don't want to hassle with checking everybody's results or making sure they've got their vaccine cards or whatever the case may be, then that won't be a requirement, even though technically it is a requirement. See, you know what I'm saying? A little shady stuff going on there potentially, but it's okay because at the end of the day, we've already been playing basketball. We've just been going out of state to do it. We've been doing it all since last summer, since last June or July. We've been running either to Utah or Arizona to play, essentially. So, you know, some boys have gotten COVID. I've gotten COVID, but nobody's gotten deathly sick, thank God, knock on wood, right? And for the most part, everyone's been safe and been, you know, practicing social distancing, doing the right things. And we practice here in Vegas. We actually have to wear masks, and you know, it's like more like a chin strap, which is ridiculous, but whatever. We have to do what we have to do. Just like commentators on TV. When I watch an NCAA basketball game or an NBA game, and the commentator on the camera is wearing a mask talking, and, you know, he's at least 6 feet or further away from the video camera guy that's filming him, I don't understand why he's got to wear the mask, and he doesn't, but they're doing it for the sake of everybody's, you know, just supposedly doing the right thing, right? I mean, I could have a whole vlog and podcast and talk about stuff like this for days. And it just, maybe I will sometime. But anyway, that's it. I rest my case. I'm done, and I'm going to probably work on getting my new podcast out for this week. So you can stay tuned for that as well. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow with another vlog, because after all, it is the first of the month, and therefore I would love to get this streak going and continue the streak and do it every stinking day if I can. But, you know, sometimes things come up. Oh, one more thing. Since it is April 1st, it is April Fool's Day. I don't have any April Fool's jokes for you. However, if you hadn't seen yet, Volkswagen got in quite a bit of a pickle or debacle with their little April Fool's joke today of claiming that they were going to be renaming Volkswagen into Volts, Volts wagon, because they're getting heavy into EV. And the joke actually got them in a little bit of hot water with their stockholders, who they saw a decline in their stocks earlier today, and some people criticized them for going that far with it, because it felt like it was in bad taste for some reason. I don't know. But if you want, you can read the article. I'll post the link. It's to Bloomberg, and I'll just post it in here real quick. So if you're on wherever I'm posting this live right now, except for, sorry, you guys at TikTok and Instagram, you'll have to Google it, but you can see all about it. It's kind of like a few years ago when IHOP decided to rename themselves IHOB for International House of Burgers to promote their lunch menu for an April Fool's joke, and everyone thought it was for real. Of course, it's, you know, got a lot of hoopla, and it did well for them. But when it comes to restaurants, you know, stuff like that, it's different, I guess. I don't know, but they claim that you know, this was in bad taste. I don't know. Other than that, I haven't heard any other really good pranks, or haven't seen any other good pranks today. I was kind of disappointed. My email inbox didn't have any really good April Fool's pranks or jokes that I thought would be good enough to share today, other than this. And this one I discovered from Jack Bourne from Deadline Funnel. He had it in the bottom of his email today and talked about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it either. I wouldn't even known about it, because, yeah, I guess I need to get out more or something. All right, that's it. I'm out. 25 minutes. We're good to go. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully. I appreciate each and every one of you who have tuned in and watched or listened, wherever you are watching or listening from, whether that's been on TikTok, or it's been on Instagram, or it's been on YouTube, or it's been on Facebook, or in one of my groups, or wherever the heck I'm broadcasting this live to, which is all over the internet, it seems like, which is awesome. And yeah, have a great evening, and I will see you guys, hopefully, and speak with you guys tomorrow. after I get my game system, and I can report back to you about how awesome it is. Maybe I'll even shoot a little footage and share it with you or something. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, have a good one. Thanks.